How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Zach Hicks, your resident film nerd of horseshoehuddle.com and your favorite co-host there over at the Locked On Colts podcast. We are back with yet another film session breakdown here for the channel. And you guys know on this channel, I like to highlight the specialists on this team. The Ashton Doolins prior to this past week where he was actually a starter, but the Ashton Doolin and his unique role he had in the offense, Mo Alley Cox and his blocking role that he had on the offense as well. And now we're going to get even more niche with it, and we're going to talk about Johnathan Edwards and his emerging role with this Colts team. Johnathan Edwards, the Colts' lone undrafted free agent to make the team this year. Edwards is the outside corner, really great size, 6'2", 200 pounds. I think he does a lot of really good things well. He's big, he's fast, he's coachable, and that's why he was able to make the team over players like Juju Brents, Samuel Womack, and a couple other veterans that were on the roster earlier in the offseason as well. And Edwards, it's tough to really gain a role in Lou Anarumo's defense as a rookie, especially as an undrafted rookie. Like even today in Anarumo's press conference talking about Edwards, he said, knock on wood, and he's doing some good things well, but we want to keep seeing growth out of him. So it is difficult for Anarumo to congratulate a young player. He likes veterans for a reason. And when we're looking at a guy like Edwards down here at the bottom of the screen, I think that they have found a little bit of a role for him, and that role is essentially our press man coverage specialist. This Colts team wants to be more in press man coverage. They want to have guys aggressively up, and I think this is a little bit different of a look here because this is more in garbage time, but it is more of a press look that we are seeing, just at least from Edwards on this backside. He's going to be carrying this vertical ball to Calvin Ridley, and this was one of his first bits of action on the season. We're seeing him cover that inside shoulder, head up on the inside shoulder. We're going to see more of that step kick release here where he's opening to the outside, keeping that body into the inside. So if Ridley tries to cross his face, he could just work over top, and it's going to be that he has to work through the body of Johnathan Edwards. I think the positioning is really good here from the young corner. He opens up with his hips there, so again, he's making it difficult for Ridley to cross back across his body. And then as Ridley breaks vertical, Edwards stays on top of the route. He does give up a little bit late separation here with Ridley giving him a little bit of a hesitation on the vertical ball, and I really wanted to see what would have happened if this ball was a bit more accurate, because I think Edwards would have been close enough to make a play, but Ridley certainly did have a step on him at the top of the route there. But this was his first bit of action on the season. I think he does a lot of things well on this coverage rep. It's just a veteran receiver pulls away from him late, and it really would have been interesting if that ball was on target. But this is really where we saw the emergence of his role. So that Tennessee Titans snap came more in garbage time. But we saw him really develop a bit of a role here against the Los Angeles Rams. And against the Rams, it was more of being a tight end eraser. And tight end erasers never really happened in the NFL, much to my chagrin. I mean, 2015, Zach, was all about the Obi Melifonwus and the Monte Nicholsons and those type of big safeties that could just man up with a tight end, be, again, like 6'2", 200 pounds, 210 pounds, whatever, running a 4.4, and just take tight ends out of the equation. And it just never really happened in the NFL because these specialists just never took hold. But in Lou Anarumo's defense, he has a lot of these looks where he wants to go 3 safeties and 3 corners, or like we have here where we have safety, safety, corner, 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 corner. So 4 corners on the field, 2 safeties, and just the 5-man pressure look we're going to get up front. And on the back end, Lou wants to play man in these situations. He wants to use his extra DBs to play more man coverage. And this is where Edwards' role has really started to emerge. So we're seeing on this play here, they're going to be in this stacked look here. The Rams obviously want Puka Nacua versus Howard all the way. But we see Edwards do a really good job carrying this route from the tight end. Tyler Higbee stays again with that inside leverage, so we're going to see him open up his hips here in the slot. Once the play starts, I know I left a lot of pre-snap here, but open those hips, turn and run with Tyler Higbee, stay on top of the route all the way, and take away that option for the quarterback. Obviously, he finds his route over the middle to Puka Nacua, but it was tested yet again later in the game where, again, we're going to get back to looking at how the Colts play this, where we got safety, safety, corner, 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 corner. So again, our 4 corner looks, our dime coverage looks. And Edwards is playing more of this, like this money backer type role where it's like your specialist, hybrid, safety, linebacker, corner. I remember back in the day with West Virginia's defense, Kaiser White played this role for that defense. The money backer is kind of just your hybrid defender. And we're going to see that with Edwards here, where he is kind of operating as a hybrid, covering that tight end in man coverage. And you see that Matthew Stafford wants that look. He wants his trusted veteran tight end on this in-breaking route against an undrafted rookie defensive back, and we see a player like Edwards really rise to the occasion on this play. So again, he's playing that outside leverage here. He doesn't want to get beat to the outside because he's got help. Gets over top of it, adjusts, works his hips back open as the player cuts back inside, gets his eyes back to the quarterback, undercuts the route, and gets the pass breakup for his first pass breakup in the NFL. So we saw the emergence of this tight end eraser type role against the Los Angeles Rams, and then his role grew a little bit more going into this game against the Raiders with the retirement of Xavier Howard. So again, the Colts are going into more of their dime personnel package. So we got safety, corner. Actually, this is a 3 safety look. So safety, corner. So 3 safety look that Lou Anarumo likes to use a lot because he has a player like Nick Cross. Nick Cross can just do so many different things for the defense. And because they had the lack of bodies at corner right now, we saw a little bit more 3 safety in this past game rather than the 4 corners that we saw in the game prior. And with that, again, Johnathan Edwards is the 3rd corner on the team right now. He's going to be one of those guys who comes on the field, especially when Mike Hilton went down. And they trust him here on an island on this play. I still don't think the trust is fully there for Lou Anarumo to have an undrafted rookie corner be like an every down guy who can play some zone and do a lot of the things they ask mentally of their corners. But in plays like this, where we're bringing pressure, we're bringing that safety on the blitz here, we're bringing pressure up front, and they know this ball is probably going to be out quick one way or another, they trust him just to play man coverage, play that inside leverage, and carry anything vertical or force anything outside. They trust him in that role, and that is a lot for Lou Anarumo. Again, I don't want to sugarcoat this. It takes a lot for young players to earn their place in Anarumo's defense. And we see on this play, this was probably Edwards' best play, not only of the year, but of training camp and the offseason as well, where he's left on an island with a fellow rookie receiver. I think this is Thornton, the big-time burner out of Tennessee here for the Raiders. And Geno Smith, he needs to get this ball out quick because they're getting a 6-man pressure concept. Looper here from Zaire Franklin gets free. Cam Bynum is unblocked up the middle. And he locks in on this vertical route on the backside, wants to get this ball over top. And Edwards just plays this like a veteran corner where, he doesn't swallow up the route completely. But I like that, again, we're taking away the inside leverage. We're eliminating the chance of a two-way go by our body positioning. He's kick sliding out as the receiver breaks towards the sideline, stays on top of that route, keeps the eyes on the receiver, and even as the receiver starts to pull away a little bit late, Edwards doesn't panic. He doesn't grab. He doesn't dive and tackle and make this a big mistake for him. He stays in phase, stays in that back hip pocket, and as the receiver goes up for the ball, Edwards gets his right hand in there and dislodges ball from wide receiver. And yes, this is bad wide receiver technique, like go up and get it if you're a receiver here. But even if he extends and goes up and gets this, Edwards is so in phase right now with how he's playing this that he's in perfect position to come up with that hand and just play through the tip of the hands there as those hands go up. So it makes Edwards' life a lot easier. This receiver is just letting the ball come down to earth to him. But because Edwards goes up and attacks this ball, or because Edwards is in phase, he's able to go up and attack that ball if this receiver were to go up as well. So he just is mostly reacting to what the receiver is doing here, plays through the hands, gets the big pass breakup, and this ended up being a huge play for the Colts because, again, getting no pass interference here and not allowing a reception here led to the block punt on the next play, and the Colts were able to get a 2-score lead early in this game, and they never looked back from that situation. So we have very limited reps from Johnathan Edwards at this point. So I'm not making this a super long video saying, Johnathan Edwards, the perfect corner for this system, he's going to be great. But one thing we do know is the Colts want to play more press man coverage, and they have a player on the roster that's big, fast, and coachable. And we are seeing, again, if we're looking at this clip against the Raiders, this is exactly how you coach it as a DB coach. This is exactly what you want to see from a young player where even if everything's not perfect from his footwork, he could have been more on top of this route from the beginning, yada, yada, yada. He stays in phase, plays through the hands, and gets the pass breakup on the play. This is something that you are praising a young player for in practice. You're praising them in the film room. This is what you want to see from a young cornerback. So you have a young guy who's doing everything that you're asking of him. It's just getting those mental reps up and getting him more acclimated for a bigger role. But even with that, they're finding ways to get him on the field and finding ways for him to be proactive and just involved in this defense. And I think it's only going to grow from here. So when it comes to Johnathan Edwards, I think his role at best is maybe like a 4 to 6, maybe 7 snaps a game type guy in these dime personnel sets. But we are seeing him make an impact regardless. 2 pass breakups in the last 2 weeks. I think he's only technically allowed 1 catch in coverage. It was late in garbage time against the Raiders. But he's playing some really good football for the Colts right now, and I think his role is only going to grow as we go from here. So for this Colts team that wants to play more press man coverage, that wants to be big, fast, and physical on the outside, I think Edwards is a really intriguing developmental piece that is slowly going to earn more snaps as this year goes on. So keep an eye on Johnathan Edwards the rest of this season, even if he doesn't take over a starting role by the end of the year. I think Anarumo and this defensive staff are going to find more excuses to get him involved and get him on the field, because the way he's playing when he gets his chances this year has been very, very good for the Indianapolis Colts.